Hi there, Year 9s. In this video we're looking at drawing and interpreting pie graphs. So I have a pie graph underneath with a few questions to ask, and this is basically a pie graph explaining the government spending in the year the 30th of June, the year to 30th of June 2006. So the first question here is asking us, what part of government spending takes more money than any other? Well, this is the biggest chunk here. And we simply interpret that by looking for what's the biggest. And so our answer for question 1 is simply social welfare. And that's with 18.96% of the, actually it's not percent, it's billions of dollars. So dollars, and we'll write billion there. Okay, and the next question says there are 360 degrees in a circle. Explain whether the angle at the centre of the education sector is closest to 45, 60 or 90. So if we look at education, that accounts for 10 billion of the total. But if we look at this angle here, well, it's definitely not 90 because 90 is a right angle, and so we can rule out 90 straight away. If we're looking at 45, well, 45 is half of 90. So if I just sort of made a 90 here to show you, for example, 45 would be like that. This looks very close to 45. 60 would have to be a bit bigger like that. That would be an example of about 60 degrees. So it's probably close to 45 or 60. Let's see here. If that was 90 and that was 60, and that was 45, that looks smaller, that looks about right. So I think we'll go with 60 degrees for that one. Okay, question 3. The three largest parts of government spending make up about 3/5 of government spending. Explain how the graph shows this. Well, one way would be to show what these add up to. And so we'll show social welfare plus education, plus health, plus education. That all equals, we'll need a calculator for this, so 18.96 plus 9.26 plus 10.43, that's 38.65. So 38.65 billion. And if we add up all the rest, which I've done earlier, the total adds up to be 65.48. And so if we're wanting to show that it makes up 3/5, then we want to write 3/5, or we want to write it our amount as a fraction. And so let's go 38.65 and divide that by 65.48. So I need a calculator for that. So divided by 65.48, and that gives us a decimal of 0.59. So that's 0.59. So let's compare that to 3/5. So for 3/5, that's 0.6, and we can see here that these are very close to each other. So we can just say these fractions are close, and that's enough for our evidence. Okay, for our next question, we're told there are two calculations, and our first question says, for this here, what does the number 65.48, how has it been calculated? Well, from our previous question, we know that that's the total, so we can write that 65.48 is the total government spending, and that's in billions of dollars. Okay, and this amount of 30%, which our next question is asking about, that is simply showing that social welfare is a percentage of the total. So that calculation there is our total for social welfare divided by the total all up. So that's all we'll say. So 30% represents the percentage spend on social welfare. Okay, our last question says, where in the graph is there an angle of 108? So if 30% represents social welfare, and we times that by 360 to get 108, that means that this angle here must be 108 degrees, and so that's our answer for 6, that 108 degrees is the angle for the social welfare part. Okay, so there's an example of interpreting a pie graph. Really, you've just got to look at the graph and answer it sensibly, knowing a few facts about circles, like that the angles add up to 360. And in my next video, I'll go over drawing a pie graph, and I'll tell you the work after that video.